Focus up, guys. Focus up.
We have the best players. We have the best fans.
Going into game. Going to 3. On 3.
We wanted to make sure that all the best players in the world were in the league, regardless of where they're from. You're really starting to see everybody really wants to up their game.
3, 2, 1, and live. Welcome to the party.
So many stars on this lineup.
And this is where we see the high quality Overwatch, everybody. Enough of the fun and games, it's time to get the job done. It's been strength to strength for the Philadelphia Fusion so far in Stage 2. I mean, what an opening they had, of course, earlier on in the week, and now they transition into this one. Looking like we might be on the fast track to another 4-0 here. Where do the Mayhem come back into this series?
It's just really weird to watch this Florida Mayhem team play today because they look so coordinated against NYXL the other day, and then today they just look all out of sorts, right? I mean, we see the support players just trying to help each other out, but then the rest of the team's diving in. They're obviously not able to get healed. You know, you're not really kind of getting a ton of value out of any of your ultimates in a way. It's just looking really odd for the Florida Mayhem, but I think it's also a credit to Philadelphia, how good they've been today.
Absolutely. I mean, from start to finish already, especially in this match and to where we are now. And I really want to see the Mayhem sort of find their groove, or at least find their approach in this series. We're seeing a couple different looks out from them, different compositions here. We're seeing the Roadhog being thrown in the mix a little bit more here. You know, we're seeing, but for me, it's the role players, or the players that, you know, like our Logixes of the world here for the Mayhem, who's having a lot of problems dealing with Carpe. Carpe, he can smell or taste that blood in the water, and I can see he's making a beeline for Logix in a lot of these fights. It's really hard as a Tracer who doesn't like to be aggressive against enemy Tracers to constantly be dived by the enemy Tracer.
Yeah, and it's also hard when you have Zupe who wants to play a little bit more passive, like you said, and then everybody else kind of go in, and then you don't really have anybody there to help him out. You know, maybe you have Logix kind of, you know, run around with Zupe, right? You know, kind of ward off the enemy Tracer or whoever else dives him, because right now you're putting that responsibility on Zebosai, but like we said, then you're not getting really any of the healing coming down on the pointer. You're not getting a lot of value out of your Discords, and Zupe able to put damage down from range because he's so busy trying to defend himself. Well,
it's difficult as well with Zebosai playing a lot of these roles. He is playing the Zenyatta on the attacking side of Hollywood, right? And what you're normally going to see is he'll try and assist that dive that the Mayhem are trying to go for. And quite often Zebosai speeds off with the rest of the team and he sort of sits back. We talked about this. He kind of gets left out on his own. But here's one man who I think's been having a huge impact over the game. 36 eliminations, 11 final blows, 1 singular death for Poker.
It's a very good game from Poco, and you know, it's just when your team is rolling like that, your stats are going to look obviously much better than the opposing team. But I think you've really seen him and Fraggy, you know, towards the later half of Stage 1, right? They try to put Hoppa in the mix, and then you do, like, where's Poco? Why isn't Poco back in? I think you've really seen them start to, you know, lock down a great roster, you know, a 6-person unit who's going to play most of the time.
So as you can see here as well, slight technical delay on the side of the Philadelphia Fusion. Just a couple of things to be dealt with now. At least we can sort of relay that information to you. And that's why we are in Overtalk at the moment. You know, it's so funny though. Like, I remember like hearing the devs talking about it, and I feel like, no offense to Brent, I think he makes a good point, but like the narrative of like Fraggy not being a Winston player, or it's not what he's, I'm misquoting him, like sort of being a Reinhardt player and then struggling with the transition. I really feel like that the end of, you know, Fraggy's struggles on Winston kind of ended like at least a couple months ago. I feel like that he's really hit his stride in that role. He's looking comfortable now in that, or in understanding his ins and outs, because the best Winston players are very good at riding that very, very narrow line between too aggressive and too passive.
I do feel like playing Winston in Stage 1 was a little bit odd for a lot of players.
How so?
You know, just in terms of you're going in and you're just trying to put down damage, maybe you get res, maybe the other Mercy, you know, is able to res the other team's Winston. Like, it was trying to like buy time and space for other players to make plays, where now you can actually see, like, you know, some of the top tanks really make a difference.
Okay, you can actually have an impact because of the amount of times you see that Winston's diving in, they've found a Zenyatta, they're going in, and Mercy's damage just completely, you know, like you've got a Mercy pocket in the Zenyatta, which was a very common approach. Obviously, look at New York, look at Jonak, and so many of the moments where he was making some big frags here. But big shout out as well. We've got some amazing fan bases around the States and around the world. And in fact, in the Florida Mayhem watch party, it's kicking off a little bit. What's the wings,
awesome.
Mac? You hungry?
Yeah, I actually saw this on Twitter. It's pretty awesome that everybody gets together, watches these games just all over. Like, so many different teams have the watch parties. It's awesome. I need to make my
That's what
way
I
out
like.
to one. It'd be kind of difficult to do.
I can't wait till we go on the road with this, you know.
Yeah.
As time goes on, you know, that's the plan, right? No, Big Daddy Nans, you know, on the golden toilet seat sort of said, we're going to get out there, you know. I can't wait to hang out with some of these fans as well and really give that appreciation of just how much people get behind these teams. But we're going to be jumping in, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for bearing with us. Gibraltar is going to be the next map in this series. And fun fact for you, this team, or like at least half of the Florida Mayhem team, were actually the first team to play a triple DPS with a Widowmaker in the mix. DreamHack, we were there.
Yeah.
And that's what we sort of started to see. There was actually Nevix was in on that particular lineup here. So these guys kind of developed using Widowmaker far more on maps like this with lots of verticality and space. But now I'm pretty sure that the Widowmaker dominance is going to be in the hands of Carpe on this map if he chooses to go for it. He's been so good on that role as well as his Tracer.
I've really liked when Florida, they've had Tvik play Genji. I think his Genji and 76 have both been quite well. I think you just need to figure out... Yeah, I think you need to figure out how you can really enable Logix to really kind of go off as Tracer. And obviously, you know, some new members coming into the fold for the Florida Mayhem. You know, once they start to incorporate some of their new players, so...
No logistical issues, hopefully.
Yeah, this team will probably look much different as we go into Stage 3 and Stage 4.
I know, it would look vastly different as well, and I wonder how long they'll take to properly coalesce around that new structure. But for now, this is the team that Florida Mayhem have sent forward. And it's a team that we hope to see great things from as time goes on.
It's kind of awesome to see how much the new additions to teams have really kind of bear to be very well, right? Like Rascals made a difference for the Fuel, AKM as well. I thought having XQC in the lineup yesterday was massive for the Dallas Fuel. It was great
really
to see.
good to watch.
Great to see him play again.
So,
and I think a lot of these teams, once they add these new players, are going to be that much better.
This is really interesting. So normally, Zupe will be playing the Ana in this defensive composition for the Mayhem. But because you're going to switch Ana when you get to the second point, and Zebo's the Lucio player, we have a role swap between them. So that means Zupe's going to stay on Zenyatta for likely the entire map. Normally, we'd see him on the Ana.
You see Carpe's stats throughout the match have just been absolutely insane. What, 6 deaths through our first 3 maps?
Yeah, it's 45 kills and 6 deaths.
Yeah, so easy. That's quite good. You don't really need to be a genius to figure that one out. As you see Carpe playing Widowmaker just sitting up top, has great. So it's going to be very difficult for Tvik, right? Playing the 76 here against the Widowmaker. Doesn't want to like kind of hop out, maybe get himself or the supports killed. And you see a lot of progress being made on the payload. The Fusion got it all the way under the underpass now.
I mean, Logic's dying first in this fight again. We saw that happen a fair bit to the Mayhem, in that previous map. And oh dear, they've been moved out of position. The Philadelphia Fusion got past them somehow. Surely this was not the way this was supposed to go. And again, alone. Swoosh has to go in alone now. He's joined by Manager, but it's just the tanks. The rest of the Mayhem are still catching up. And now that's going to be the nano boost. Give it over to Swoosh here. Poco does get desuited in all fairness, and it's actually a good fight for the Mayhem. They allow the payload to get tantalizingly close to the checkpoint, but that's a good response. And they hold strong.
And Zebosai probably saves them during that fight. A nice nano boost there, and then he also connects with a 4-person biotic grenade on the payload. That denies a ton of healing.
Nasty.
So Zebosai potentially, saving the Mayhem there from having, point A taken relatively fast. EQO already has this Dragon Blade. See if he can put it to good use.
Okay. Fraggy backs up a little bit there. Take a fair bit of damage. Just benefiting from the healing right now. Neptune, Dragonblade time. EQO wants to start the party. There's 2 already. Backing away. Quick reflect there is finally managed to turn his attention to the very angry Cyber Ninja. But I mean, he's already cut the legs out from under the Mayhem, and he's going to get more. Zupe just gets broken into little pieces, and EQO, multi-kill god as he has been in this series, will pave the way for the Fusion to get that first checkpoint. And we're into the shuttle phase.
And Zupe uses the Transcendence there. The players above him on that banister.
Here we go.
Not able to get a ton of value.
Pull up a chair.
It's going to be Carpe taking out one. Will actually be Logix, who's still behind enemy lines. He's actually on the payload contesting. So this is quite good here from Florida. You're able to take out Boombox in Neptuno. Stop the payload from moving.
Primal Rage there being used. And this is what the Mayhem have to do, right? If they allow Carpe to do what he's been doing over the last few maps, then it will be done. It will just, there's no way that they're going to win this map. But if they control him like that and they get aggressive, and that's tough, It means, again, that Florida might have to leave their supports in compromising situations in order to bridge the gap between Carpe sitting way in the distance, or the Mercy, or Neptuno. So there's a risk in this defensive setup here for the Mayhem.
Yeah, I mean, they want to control high ground with Tvik playing 76, but do you want to give those open sight lines to Carpe, who's probably getting a damage boost now from Neptuno, who's been playing this Mercy here in the first half?
Okay, so infrasight used. So now the Fusion realize how many people from the Mayhem are sat inside the shuttle, but Tvik managed to do with Neptuno, so no Mercy on the side of the Fusion, but they don't really seem to care. Fraggy chases Tvik down, and despite the best efforts of the Florida Mayhem to try and get set up there, Logix is punished for trying to go for Boombox. Even though he gets the kill, that Transcendence was very interesting from Zupe, but it does force a disengage.
Yeah, but I mean, he uses it there. It's pretty much like a 3-on-1. You know, Manatin and Zebo are alive there, and they're very close to full health at the time.
I would like to see maybe what happened there, because there's maybe no reason to use that, and if they really want it in this next fight, they could have had double support options.
Oh, that is so nasty.
Oh,
he is getting the damage boost, to be quite fair. It is a headshot though, as they're going to get Manatin low as well. You're going to see the Valkyrie come out here for the Philadelphia Fusion, using that Mercy ult offensively.
Carpe now as well got himself dug in this little niche here. No one's really paying him any attention. That's exactly what he wants. Now taken to the sky, but EQO's already paved the way for him. He's done the hard work, the heavy lifting. And I mean, how incredible must it be as one of the Philadelphia Fusion DPSs when you know you can rely on the other to do so much damage?
Oh, absolutely. And Carpe getting very close to the door there. I don't know if you caught him, but Neptuno in the Valkyrie towards the end just flies right up, is able to take out Tvik at the high ground as 76. So Neptuno, one of the better battle mercies he had.
Yep.
Stage 1, bringing it into stage 2. Here's EQO with the Dragon Blade. I wonder if they're going to use it when they see these players. Yep, bottom left-hand corner.
What do you do about this one? Again, I'm pretty sure Zupe is awfully used to this exact kind of situation. Nothing to be done. Fraggy gets a brace of kills with the Primal Rage alone. And the Fusion with 3 minutes and 20 on the clock. Again, if you want to assess how fast this is from the Fusion, it's not bad. They were held up for about a little bit more than a minute on that shuttle phase. This is very good though, to be fair. But now it's about squeaking the payload very close to the end of the map. You know, get around this very nasty corner. The right-hand turn is where a lot of teams get snarled up.
Yeah, that's where we see most teams get stalled out. It'll be EQO taking out Tvik, who's been now switched over to Widowmaker, trying to combat Carpe. It's going to force the rest of the members for the Mayhem to go back into spawn. And this is dangerous. You can get caught in this spawn so bad, where you have a lot of damage being reflected in the tanks for the Fusion just getting in your face.
Hello, is this Selfless Gaming? Hello? Right up in the spawn. It's a playstyle we sort of saw back in the early Tracer and 76 combo days. Something that your boy Sinatra was a part of. EQO is very low here, that self-destruct. It doesn't actually claim anyone. It does, again, force that big step back from the Fusion. But this final keep going. Neptuno, that's very cheeky. He gets a big res on EQO, and EQO has the Dragon Blade. A lot of value there if EQO can make this work.
And they do have a Transcendence to combine with it. It was a nice Winston bubble from Fraggy to keep Neptuno up while he goes for the res. But they lose Boombox, though, who has that Transcendence. Most likely he'll have to back out. EQO is still able to stay alive up top. Puts Neptuno in a rough spot. He's going up there trying to heal him.
It's so bizarre as well. They lose Boombox early in the fight, but EQO is still determined to try and get a one-for-one trade, and he gets it, which is huge, which means the Fusion don't have to disengage. Oh, Logix is very lucky to stay alive from that sound barrier. A sliver of health was all he had left, but that's Poco to claim Zupe again. The Zenyatta missing. He had his Transcendence as well, man. He's going to have to rush back onto the point and use it, but he might not get high value for it if his team are staggered at that moment. Carpe trying to deal with Logix here. Make it very, very hard, and Woy doesn't quite land the grappling hook. Doesn't matter though, because EQO was there to help out.
And you see Tvik switch over to Mei, just trying to stall this out. The Dragon Blade comes through, but there's that big Transcendence. But you see, they actually split switch off on the rest of the team. They did a nice job body blocking the spawn door. Now it's going to force the stagger out here from Florida.
Now Tvik going to use that ice block, and Logix trying to give a bit of tickle on towards the point, but he knows he can't stay for too long. Self-destruct from Manatin. Dome dropped down there by Fraggy, and that was EQO hiding inside of it. He's not affected now by that self-destruct. That's going to be the Valkyrie here for Neptuno. He already got the big res on Fraggy. Again, a lot of value in that resurrect play. He's been very good at setting up the Fusion to keep fighting in these protracted engagements, and Carpe now can sit back and play a bit of whack-a-mole. Swoosh put down. Unsightly looking yellow wall thrown up by Tvik there as well, just to displace, but he's knocked away. Determination, evident in the Philadelphia Fusion's last couple of fights, and they complete the map with 50 seconds in their time bank.
So you still do see some Widowmaker play, Widowmaker and Mercy play here in stage 2. Neptuno play and Mercy throughout that entire map, able to provide You know, Carpe when he gets dimed with a lot of healing, obviously, but then also the damage boost at range. Take a look here, just EQO, just trying to get some damage down. Ooh, just a nasty reflect there.
I wonder what that was, because prior to that, he just jumped on top of Tvik and did it the old-fashioned way. So plays like that are huge and often hard to spot. So good to see that one there. Also, we noticed earlier on when we saw Carpe on the Widowmaker being harassed by Logix towards that last fight, and he sort of missed the grappling hook and we thought he was done. I'm pretty sure EQO killed Logix with an cross-map shuriken. I'm pretty sure he was almost at the other end of that long stretch and just turned around and threw one back. So these guys, like those guys from Toy Story with like all the green guys, like Mind Linked or whatever, touching, you know,
like
their fingers together and just reading each other's thoughts.
It just seems like I was always so impressed with how good Carpe and Shadowburn were as the DPS duo. And you're seeing, you know, EQO and Carpe form a very good connection here for the Philadelphia Fusion. They'll play Mercy again on defense here with Carpe playing that Widowmaker. So you do get the effects of the resurrection and whatnot.
This is astonishing. I mean, EQO often, you know, that the Genji does go in and get finishing blows and just clean up kills. He's got 14 final blows though, and we look at Carpe as well, who's obviously been doing a huge amount of lifting. Only 3 final blows. So you can see that EQO has been finishing off a lot of the kills that Carpe has been setting up, as well as Fraggy and Boombox. You know, that we've seen that damage thrown in, the clean up crew, EQO, God, that's getting really hard to say. 3 syllables, make it echo or something.
And he also gets a lot of good value out of the Dragon Blade. 7 Dragon Blade kills there in the first half. So the Florida Mayhem, they'll have to play Genji, and Logix will play Widowmaker here.
Okay.
Trying to see if he can get the better of Carpe in that Widow versus Widow battle.
And Logix, one of 3 designated Widowmaker players on the Mayhem. We've seen Zebasai play it, we've seen Tvik attempt to play it as well. Now he needs to connect the hit scan. Delegate on the Mayhem needs to find his mark early. Carpe is happy to challenge. We don't always see defensive Widowmakers here. It definitely means you're feeling confident, right? Normally you just like dive the enemy Widow with your tanks and have a trace against you or something like that. Carpe fancies a bit of a brawl.
You know, here on the land client, you know, it's kind of dangerous, right? Because if you have that 76 on defense, the other team has the Widow, like you would much rather have that Widowmaker on defense to kind of go at that Widow too. So I think that's why we see a little bit more Widowmaker on the defensive end here than some of you guys probably see at home.
Setting up in the server room here, there's no Junkrat or anything kind of weird on the defensive side of Philadelphia Fusion, so the Mayhem don't have to worry about getting blown to pieces, but that needs to be a concern. Logix is plucked from the mix. And obviously the Mayhem don't run Mercy on this map, so they're not going to res him up now. They're down to 5 players, but now they're also committed to this.
They're going to be able to take 2, though. They get both supports here. Their own supports, though, are getting dimed. And Carpe on the ground, putting down some damage here onto Manitin. It's going to force them all the way into the back there. They really want this kill onto Poko. The payload is moving. They have 1 member on it, but it'll be Logix who falls at the hands of EQO.
Yeah, and now no one's on the payload. That's the problem. The Fusion now can just congregate around it and, you know, tell Swoosh, come at us. If you want to move this payload, you need to fight us. Good decision making from Manitin. By the way, he was on 7 HP all the way from when he was inside. Now he's on 3, so he's lost 4 HP. Just a tickle would have got him D-suited, but no one's bothered to do it.
They do. They just get the D-suit. So now they've got the D-suit on the Manitin. We're going to have a Dragon Blade and both support ults. Zupe has that Transcendence, so you're going to have Tvik with his Blade. See if Florida can come out on top of this next fight.
Clearly the presence of Fraggy was enough to make Tvik think twice about hanging around and trying to 1v1 EQO. A bit of 1v1 anyway. So, we have a Transcendence here for Zupe. Tvik has a Dragon Blade, so that, you know, essentially that's the bare bones that they're going to need to win a fight like this. But now Transcendence has responded to on the side of the Philadelphia Fusion. They have one, and Tvik gets nothing with his Dragon Blade. It's so frustrating to see that fizzle. If you are the Florida Mayhem, there's more to be done. Sound barrier dropped in. You can see Fraggy's getting that nice Valkyrie healing right now, so a lot of resources being dumped into keeping the Winston alive. Zupe seems to have found EQO now off on his own inside the server room, but now this might be a bit of a ruse. He might have baited them into Fraggy, who's now trying to chase down those supports while EQO can just deal with Logix. He's being healed as well at the same time by Nettuno. There's no way Logix is going to win this fight.
No, when he's getting pocketed by the Mercy, whether it's, you know, healing or damage boost, there's nothing that Logix can do. He's getting very low. He's going to get pushed out there by Fraggy. You know, the Philadelphia Fusion, they're able to layer both of those support ults there because of how long Valkyrie lasts. They're able to just withstand the sound barrier as well. Nettuno providing a ton of healing, and just look at these supports for the Philadelphia Fusion already building up quite well towards their next round.
One fight, 75% already back for Boombox. Huge damage. And healing being done in the previous fight. Now the Dragon Blade coming out for EQO. Surely can one up to Tvik, and he has done so. Zebasai being removed, Zupe's low. Fraggy just gets the job done by landing on him. Resurrects to come in just in case. EQO is brought back. Fraggy cannot be. He needs to walk a long way back. The Fusion opt to give a lot of space, allow the Mayhem to approach, and make sure they buy enough time. This could be nasty. One kill here from Carpe, and it's over for the Mayhem.
And just look at how fast the Fusion supports it build up towards their ultimates compared to the Mayhem. You know, that previous fight, you saw all support ults used. One more fight goes by, and you're going to have both support ults here for Philadelphia. Just the Mercy helping out the Zen and vice versa.
No respect, no quarter. That's the way the Fusion been playing this map out. Carpe bought 3 seconds just from standing on the bridge and looking at them. Now EQO is down. Neptuno might fancy trying to go for a bit of, yeah, he does get the Resurrector. He didn't have to use the Valkyrie to do that, which he does now. Roll with Carpe, again, he's watching the payload. He needs to make sure that they don't get back capped. The rest of the Fusion are trying to pinch them here from 2 sides. Self-destruct thrown in, what can Poco find for it? Very little. He's actually taken down by Tvix Dragonblade after he gets out of the mech. He was hoping to be able to resuit with that play, but it won't be an option for him now. Frankie's in front of Tvik, not focusing down the Genji yet, and the Primal Rage is being used just to buy a little bit more time. Again, Valkyrie having timed out a few seconds ago. It looks like the Fusion know they need to give a little bit of space here. Maybe regroup and come back into the fight with full force.
Oh, they're able to get onto the payload in the final seconds. Fraggy contests it. It's going to be the sound barrier that comes in for the Florida Mayhem, trying to keep everybody topped up. It'll be Fraggy getting resurrected there by Neptuno. He's just trying to make a difference on the payload, but this one looks like one that Florida should be able to take, Mitch.
Another one of those classic Supe moments. He gets himself 2 kills at D-Suit, then Zebasai finds 1. Finally, the Mayhem wake up. Dire Straits will be putting it very politely, diplomatically even, but now they at least have a chance to play on. Finishing the map, of course, needs to occur, but at least now they have a chance to deny the Fusion an opportunity to set up inside this shuttle, because otherwise for attacking teams this can be a very hard part of the map to play. Swoosh needs to not die here. I know that sounds really obvious, but if they lose him, it's going to be really nasty.
If Carpe switch over to Tracer, so it's going to be a very aggressive composition that comes out for the Philadelphia Fusion. Not really too determined on holding that high ground for Philadelphia. You want to take the fight on the ground with this dive.
Supe down already. That's not what the Mayhem are looking for here. Getting snarled up on this part of the map would surely be their downfall. Frankie and EQO have actually fallen though, so good response from the Mayhem. Losing Zenyatta early in the fight, a Zenyatta who had Transcendence no less and still able to come back. Zebasai is actually really starting to tick up now. He found a couple kills in that last fight. He kills Neptuno, 1 Carpe in that one. He's glad to be back on that hero. I know that for sure, and I don't know if the Fusion will test this. Okay, they do. They put Poco on. They're going to trickle in one by one, but Tvik might have something else to say about that. The Transcendence now coming out from Boombox here, but it's going to be 1 as well from Supe.
Yeah, you're going to have EQO with his Dragon Blade. He's going to pull it out, see if he can get anything with it. Self-destruct or still off the point. It's going to be a sound barrier that comes down for the Mayhem. Neptuno gets a res on the Poco there right in the middle of the action. He's able to get back in his mech.
That's massive for Poco now. He has the chance to use that defense matrix to keep his supports alive in a brawl. That's so massive. EQO found himself the DC on Manaton. Zebasai falling by the wayside. And now Poco just doing Poco things. It was the self-destruct kill that claimed Swoosh in the end. Great resurrect from Neptuno, by the way, in the thick of the action. Gets Poco back, and Poco's able to quickly get back in his mech before he gets burst down. It can be tough as Mini D.Va to do that.
40 seconds left. Tvik will switch off of Genji, just use his blade, will go over to Widowmaker. So trying to get an early pick that could open things up here for the Mayhem. He's going to get it. He's going to get one on the boombox.
Oh, Supe is low as well. That's not the start. Neptuno, big resurrect from him, but Poco's been de-suited rather early on into the fight, but it may not matter. Tvik's now gone, so they don't have the Widowmaker that can just sit back in the distance. I think that was a back cap attempt from the Florida Mayhem, but the Philadelphia Fusion, they're just too canny for the cantankerous Floridians now. Carpe's in, de-suit Manaton, Swoosh remove, he'll find another one and get the job done. Clean as a whistle, Carpe. Judge, jury, and executioner he has been in this series. And with no time left, Logix can only attempt. It was a token effort to get back. And they will fall short. The Mayhem in general. 4-0 for the Philly Fusion.
And EQO in his second match here puts on a show in our final map. 42 limbs, 22 final blows playing Genji, 10 Dragon Blade kills. Just an insane game here. You expect maybe a little nerves like your second game, but none of that as Philadelphia rolls through Florida.
You think that, right, about something like EQO, but I spoke to him at the Fusion House not too long ago, and he just said, I've been waiting for so long to play, like, I just know I'm going to get up there, I'm going to do my best. He reckons he's just been sat in the, waiting to get here first and then to jump into his team and start screaming. He's looking so good. What a clever, clever pickup for the Philadelphia Fusion. Their whole team firing on all cylinders right now, and the Florida Mayhem do come up well and truly short. Philly go from strength to strength. What a match. We're going to head over the desk We'll have that one broken down by our experts.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Intel, the official computer processor of the Overwatch League. T-Mobile, America's best unlimited network. And by Omen by HP, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League. You just gotta keep moving forward.
Welcome back, everyone. This is Zoe, and I'm joined by no other than EQO. Please give it up for this young man right next to me, and of course his team, who just took that game convincingly over the Florida Mayhem. Now, we unfortunately didn't see you during stage one on this very stage, but you're coming up here with a boom. You are dominating those other teams on your Genji. What makes you gel so well, despite not having that much time to actually play with your team?
I'm just like a really positive player, so we just always keep positive and work on our mistakes. That's why like we mesh so good together, especially on match. Like everyone is like really focused, and I'm like calling a lot, and it's really easy like when your Genji calls like to mesh with like Carpe and Fraggy because they know what I'm doing. So that's like one of our key to success.
All right, well, it's definitely working for you guys so far. Now, how would you compare your style versus Shadowburn's style?
Like Shadowburn is more like the deadly assassin. He's like hides place and like get picks, like really like usual for him. And I'm just like doing a lot of damage, building blades fast. You know, like that's my play. So like he's like assassin. I'm just like like a DPS Genji.
Just a DPS Genji, just your average everyday DPS Genji, no biggie, but it seems to work for you very well. Your team is incredible international, and you're the only player in the whole Overwatch League who's actually coming from Israel. What's the support like from home?
There's like a lot of support. I always get message from Israeli people that they're like proud of having like an Israeli guy representing their country. So that's like really nice, and like I'm proud of it.
You should be, definitely. It's great to have you here. Thank you so much for joining me for a quick chat, and we're now heading over to the desk to break down the action.
Thank you so much. So a big win there for EQO and the Philadelphia Fusion. That's the second here in the first week of Stage 2. Welcome back, everybody. I'm Puckett. I got Bren. I got Crumbs with me once again. And we got to talk about how good this Philadelphia Fusion squad is. Every attack looked effortless from this team. Their defense, very strong as well. They full held Florida multiple times throughout this series.
Yeah, and in general, I think this is a testament to how well they're working together. I mentioned in the pre-show as well, speaking to this team, they're working on their own games and things, and I really do, honestly, I gotta say, it's showing in leaps and bounds. This is one of the best teams, I think, in Stage 2 right now, which is quite a claim coming from myself, but it is completely true. I feel like their dive is on almost another level, and I've got an excellent replay that I can show you as well, really, as to how this is going on and why this is happening. And just right here, you can see Florida Mayhem. They're looking for a dive and trying to set themselves up into the back lines. Logics will join them at a later date. And that's the aim for Florida right now, is to try and pick off a key target. They ideally are going to be wanting to go for these supports in the backline here, Boombox and Neptuno, but unfortunately, they can't do that. They're currently tucked away in a little nest egg in the back of the cafe, so they're not going to be doing it. And in the industry, we like to call this giving them the business, because Philadelphia, they just completely work around it, right? They move on. If we play this out a little bit slowly, so you can really see exactly what's going on, Florida work around, and this is the key moment right here. So you notice Zupe completely out of position once again, but this is not a bad thing for Florida. This is just their style. The bad thing is, however, Philadelphia Fusion have clocked it pretty easily, and now you're going to notice as well, the rest of the team comes out and they will dive immediately straight onto him from here. And because as well, the supports, they can't actually get onto them into the back lines, it means the only target that Florida can focus is EQO on the Roadhog. And I mean, if you've been playing Overwatch at all, you will know you can't really focus down the Roadhog. So EQO takes so long to die, and they just dive onto Zupe into the back lines, bringing him down, immediately bringing down one of the supports, a key pick for Philadelphia Fusion, and the reason why they took this fight so convincingly. And this is a reoccurring theme throughout almost the entirety of this match, which is the Philadelphia dive, which is so honestly so on point in terms of they knew exactly what kind of targets they were pointing at. They know exactly where to be at the right times. And because they're missing that one healer, the only healer they have is Zebasai on the Lucio. Doesn't provide enough heals for them to get back up and get back into the team fight.
I hope you guys enjoy watching those map top downs as much as I do, because it was amazing to watch, of course, the tanks working with the DPS, but also the Lucio, Neptuno, the guy we barely talk about whenever Philly plays. He had so many crucial boops, keeping his teammates alive, and nice job by Boombox as well. The Moira play has been stellar.
I like how you mentioned that it's not a mistake, it's just a play style that Zupe is out of position.
Well,
okay, listen. It's the way you play Zenyatta, right? You want to make this argument with me, but here's the reason behind it.
I'm just poking fun.
So yeah, it's because Florida, they don't, when you play against teams normally, you will not be exploited that hard in terms of the positioning. Normally, when teams get dove upon, they focus on the front lines that are being dove, so they don't have to worry about their back lines as much. But Philadelphia here, this was a reoccurring theme, and like, you know, Florida, they just didn't adapt to it as the game was going on.
Yeah, got to protect that Zen a little bit better in the future.
That's some notes for you on the ranked games, Puckett.
No, I'm never going to help you. All right, let's talk about the final map here. We knew the series was already going in favor of the Fusion, but map count matters so much, as you saw at the end of the Stage 1 playoffs. So let's take a look at some of the early moments, because you said right away, grab this clip. What did Zebasai do that caught you?
It was just a tasty play, and I feel like, again, because we're hammering on about how Florida are actually playing pretty badly, but I don't think that's the case at all. I just feel like it's Philadelphia Fusion playing really, really well. This was just a little clip of Zebasai on the Ana on a role that he's not really known too well. We haven't seen a lot of Ana because Mercy was the meta in Stage 1 so much, but it was just fantastic. The bio grenade connected it onto 3 members, got it onto Swoosh as well, so he could keep Swoosh up as well alive during the fight while it was going on. Just in general, Florida are actually not a bad team. It's just Philadelphia overpowering.
Well, I think we have to remember, too, that Ana's bio nade right now is a crazy ability. When you've got Trans AoE's healing and Lucio's AoE healing, these grenades make a huge swing in every team fight. So you have to keep your eyes out on Ana's when they make these plays. And they don't look very flashy, but they are very impactful.
Now, Crumbs, we, of course, were watching Florida on their attack, and we saw Zebasai using his ults well. Philadelphia seemed to have an answer, though, every single time that it looked like Florida was going to make some moves. What was your highlight?
Well, so when you have the Genji, the Dragon Blade, it's basically a rock, paper, scissors with the Transcendence. And typically you see the Trans being popped as an answer to it. But this time around, he gets a Trans at the... He gets a Blade. He gets a... I think this ends up being like a 4K with Trans happening at the same time. So it's a great heads-up play from the Philadelphia Fusion because the Zenyatta was at the bottom. And this is just a recurring theme for the Mayhem. They are struggling to utilize their Zenyatta, and I think it's, as you say, it's not so much them, but the pressure that Philly is putting on them is crazy. I mean, you're holding a Blade for a minute. We got Winston's jumping at you.
Yeah.
When do you bust out the Trans? And the answer seems to be whenever Philly feels like it, because they're just going to take it out of you when they feel like killing you.
Yeah, it's the point I was trying to make was that Florida, they play against any other team, and they're not going to be having these troubles, really. It's just the fact that Philadelphia have been so concise with their dives, always onto the right targets, exploiting the fact that they're just a few, literally seconds of being in the wrong position at the wrong time, and they immediately just win the team fight off the back of it. Just really, honestly, sublime play coming out from Philadelphia Fusion.
If you're a Florida fan, don't worry. Your team still has some time, but they are continuing to improve. Today, Philadelphia was just a beast to go up against, and it's part because we couldn't name just one player of the match. These are our players of the match, sponsored by Omen by HP. We had to go with the duo. Carpe and EQO took over this series, and it all started back on game 1. 0 deaths for the boys.
I mean, it's insane, right? You knew that Carpe and Shadowburn were already a duo that could win you games against any team in the league, but now you have EQO as well that seems to be just as good, if not better, and you're wondering, how can this team even go? Do they have higher highs than these with the DPS? Probably, which is insane.
Let's not sugarcoat it, Brendan. Is this duo better than what we saw with Carpe and Shadowburn?
I feel like it's different strokes for different folks. All right, that's the way I'm gonna go with this.
That's a PC answer, right?
No, it's not. And here's the reasoning behind it, right? Because Shadowburn, like EQO was saying in the interview, EQO was saying Shadowburn is like this assassin guy, right? He gets the picks for his team, and we're now in a meta game where Genji's, it's much harder to get these picks like he might have been used to because Lucio is in the game. Lucio can boop you away when you're trying to go for those dashes. So EQO's playstyle definitely fits this current meta game a lot better, and Philadelphia have just completely worked around it.
And if you look at some of these numbers, keep your eyes on the final blows. 112 final blows from this duo. You compare that to Miami, or Florida Mayhem rather, just 47.
Yes, I mean, the game was an absolute stomp, but what really I think stands out for me is the fact that the kill participation was nearing 50% and above for these teams, where their league average is like 30% or even lower. The fact that these guys are so involved with what the rest of the team is doing is a great sign, because it's coordinated DPS, making it work with the team. That's how you want to be playing DPS anyways.
I love it. That is going to do it for our halftime and our post-game coverage of the first match. But coming up next, we got a big one. Are you guys excited? You still enjoying your Saturday here in the Blizzard Arena? When we come back, we got a good one. It's Boston versus Houston. Don't go anywhere.